Hello and happy Tuesday. You are live with Sandra at It's All About Choices, where every Tuesday I have the pleasure of dishing out your weekly dose of nutrition, wellness news for your mind and your body and your soul. I hope that you are having a wonderful day so far. And for those who are tuning in with me live, thank you so much for listening in, pausing in your day. Hopefully, you're having lunch, giving your body and your mind a chance to rejuvenate for the second half of the hustle and bustle. And for those who are listening to the replay, I appreciate you taking that time out of your schedule to listen to the replay. And whether you're listening to the replay or you are listening live, I welcome engagement. I welcome comments, questions, stories, aha moments. I want this to serve as a two-way form of communication as much as possible, not just me talking at you, but the feedback that I get back from you helps me to tailor this even more to you and your needs. All right. And so we are shifting gears. We are talking about stress and stress eating. Very, very common, very, very popular challenge that many of us have, and I am not excluded from this, okay? Why does this happen? How do we stop it? How do we get control over it? So this is what we're speaking about. So this is a mini series where you will learn some mindful eating and specific strategies that will help you to avoid overeating out of stress, anxiety, boredom. And of course, the end result is an unwanted weight gain. And depending on how long the stress eating occurs, it can lead to health problems. All right. And so, how stress, immunity, and weight gain go hand in hand. They actually are very, very related. And so, a survey conducted reported experiencing at least one stress symptom each week. Okay. So, about 3 out of 4 Americans reported that they experience at least one stress symptom every single month. Okay, so this study was conducted by the American Psychological Association, and the top stressors include acne, headaches, chronic pain, decreased energy, insomnia, and appetite changes. So these are some of the effects of some type of a stressor. And so today I'm going to dish out 10 surefire practices that will help you to avoid overeating out of anxiety, out of boredom, out of stress, out of just comfort. That's another one too. So comfort, sometimes we eat just plain out of comfort and habitual. It becomes habitual. And we want to avoid gaining weight as a result of that, because then that leads to yet another stress, right? Because now we're feeling bad for ourselves. We're beating ourselves up. We're feeling defeated because we are eating too much. Okay. So for those who do not know who I am Sandra Goltry. I am a registered dietitian, certified personal trainer, and your accountability partner. And I help adults overcome that sense of frustration and overwhelm that is associated with failed attempts at losing weight, keeping the weight off, most importantly, and improving their overall health status, like lowering meds and things of that nature. And so the goal is not to put a Band-Aid on it. The goal is not to restrict and deprive. The goal is to create habits that last for a lifetime. And it takes time to do that. But it is a wonderful thing once you reach it, okay? And so it's all about creating a lifestyle of self-care, and it's all about breaking food strongholds. And these are two very big things, big aspects that impact our food choices, okay? And so we're talking on a new little mini series about stress and stress eating. For those who are just tuning in, why does it happen? How do we make it stop? How do we gain control of it? And how does stress and weight gain go hand in hand? All right, so let's start with my poll question. Do you feel stressed more days than not? Yes, no. Where do you fall there? I feel I probably feel stressed on more days than I don't. Try to stay faithful, but my flesh gets in the way. So, but how do you feel about that? Do you find yourself feeling stressed on more days than not? Okay. And so before we get into the topic, I want to share with you, for those who have not downloaded my free 5-day meal plan, I want to give you an opportunity to hear about that in brief. And so we are almost midway through April. Can you believe it? Where are you with your health goals? Where are you with your weight loss goals? Are you meeting them? Are you reaching them, or have they kind of gone out the window, which is pretty typical at this time? We kind of forgotten about them. We've gotten too busy. Life has thrown all kind of stuff at us. And so I want to give you an opportunity to download this 5-day meal plan where this can kind of help you get back on track, help you. And this plan is designed to help you to lose weight, to help you feel better, to help you increase your energy, and help you just to kind of get back into that groove of making yourself more of a priority again, and balance the stressors around self-care, because that's what it's all about, creating a lifestyle of self-care. So stay tuned with me to the end. I'm going to talk more about it. However, if you do have to jump off, here is where you can access it at www.actionchoices.com/jumpstart. Okay, jumpstart. So there's a keyword there. All right. So download that, and then I will speak in more detail about that a little bit later. All right. So let's jump into our first topic. Let's talk about stress, weight gain, and cortisol levels, understanding the connection. Okay. So unfortunately, excess stress can lead to increased weight. Okay. Whether or not the extra weight is a result of overeating, unhealthy food choices, or your body's response to the increased level of cortisol, getting a handle on stress is a priority if you want to prevent stress-related weight gain. Okay. Most don't notice it at first, but stress can have a noticeable effect on your body. Okay. And so from tight muscles, headaches, feeling irritable, overwhelmed, and just being out of control, very short-tempered. So stress can take a toll on your physical, your mental, and your emotional health, and of course your spiritual health. And so in many cases, you feel the effects of stress right away, right? But there are other ways that your body can respond to stress, such as weight gain, that may take time to notice. And so your body responds to stress with increasing levels of cortisol. And so cortisol is a stress hormone, and it increases in response to a threat. And so when you no longer perceive this threat, then those cortisol levels return to normal. So that's no big deal. That's that fight or flight type thing that we typically hear about. However, if the stress is always present, then you can experience an overexposure of cortisol, which is a problem since cortisol also is a significant appetite stimulant. Okay. And so for this reason, many people respond to stress by going for comfort food. And so a tip to combat stress-related weight gain, so you might want to grab your pen, your pencil to kind of take this down, because with this segment, I'm planting seeds for you, okay? This stuff is not going to happen overnight, especially if it has become habitual, which that is typically the case for most of us, including myself. You get to a point where you just find yourself eating and you don't even know why. You don't even know how you landed in the kitchen to begin with, but you're eating. So take these notes, and over time, as you kind of look through them, something is going to resonate with you. And one of these points are going to resonate as far as this is what you need to work on. This is what you need to focus on. But you want to take it one step at a time. There's no magic pill. There's no magic drink. There's no magic bar. But we have to be intentional. So number one, okay, recognize the warning signs of stress, such as anxiety, irritability, muscle tension. Recognize it. Okay, especially when it's been habitual. Trust me, you're doing the same things. I was doing the same things over and over and over again. We're on autopilot when it comes to this. What are your warning signs? Okay, before eating, ask yourself why you're eating. Okay, why? Okay, why would you do that? But why are you eating? Are you truly hungry is what you're looking for? Or do you feel symptoms of stress or anxiety or boredom or maybe even craving? But the fact that you're stopping in your tracks, being intentional, why am I eating? Is it really time? Did I just eat an hour ago, a whole meal? I'm not really hungry. Yes, you can eat. We always can make room for more, right? But am I eating for the right reasons? And once I get started, am I going to stop? Okay. So ask yourself why you're eating. If you are tempted to eat when you're not hungry, or you just ate something, find a distraction. Okay, especially if you're working with a dietitian and you've followed the plan and you have all the pieces that you need to actually say that it's a meal, then we know that there's some of the trigger. Okay, and so find a distraction. Okay, whether that's walking outside, whether that's taking a bath, whether that's reading a book, anything, just find something to do, clean up. put some clothes in the dryer, fold some clothes, anything to kind of keep you from making your way to where the food is. Okay. Number 4, do not skip meals. Okay. Don't skimp on the meals. Don't skip them, and don't have very little, a spoonful of this or a little bit of that, especially breakfast. Okay. If you're hungry, if you're in a hurry, grab a piece of fruit and nuts with your coffee. Okay. Please understand, coffee is not breakfast on the way out the door, but grab 2 of something before you walk out the door. That'll make a huge, huge, huge difference. Eat healthy, such as whole grains, a variety of fruits and vegetables, lean protein, low-fat dairy, actual dairy, heart-healthy fats. Aim to include most of your food from the 5 food groups at your meal. Okay, at least 3. Sometimes you can have all 4. Okay, number 6, identify your comfort foods. Okay, keep them out of your house, out of your home. Sometimes we need to do that. At some point, though, I do believe that you need to learn how to coexist with it, because the food has too much power if you find yourself not being able to be around it without losing control. So that's something that we have to work on. But in the beginning, if you know you have no control, don't have it in the house. Don't buy it in such large quantities. Have it on occasions. Maybe buy it a la carte where you pay $2-3 more for it, but at least you're not overindulging. Okay. So just some things to think about. That's at a very high level. We have to break down all of those into specific goals, etc. Now, what is your go-to or comfort food during stress? When you're stressing, everybody has that favorite thing, whether it's chips, whether it's ice cream. Me, it's nuts, okay? Mixed nuts, deluxe mixed nuts, not just any kind of mixed nuts. But what is it? It's a chocolate. It's different for everybody, but what is it? Because that's what we really need to zone in on, okay? All right, let's continue on. I'm giving you a new banner here. How does stress impact our immune system? So let's talk about that. So we talked about the immune system a lot last week and how we naturally can boost that up and how we need to keep our body ready to fight before the infection and disease comes on. So how does the stress impact the immune system? So the immune system is a collection of billions of cells that travel through the bloodstream, right? And they move in and out of tissues and organs, and they're defending the body against foreign bodies. We call them antigens, such as bacteria, viruses, cancerous cells. And so when we are stressed, the immune system's ability to fight off these antigens is reduced. Okay. And so that is why we are more susceptible to infections when we are stressed out, we're not getting enough sleep, etc. The stress hormone, cortisol, can suppress the effectiveness of the immune system. Okay. And so ongoing stress makes us susceptible to illnesses and disease. And some experts even claim that stress is responsible for as much as 90% of all illnesses and the disease, including cancer and heart disease. So pretty high. And so the way this does this is there's a chemical triggering reaction in the flooding of the body with cortisol that also decreases our white blood cells as well as our NK cells, which these are special cells that kill cancer. And so on the flip side of that, though, stress increases tumor development and growth and increases the rate of infection of tissue damage. So it's a lot of things that go on when our body is stressed for extended periods of time and it doesn't get a break. And so this is why people, this is why they say, get a massage every now and then, go on vacation every couple of months, different things to take you away from the things that stress us out, which is usually our jobs, okay, which is usually the number one stressor. And to me, a close number 2 is we overextend ourselves. So we have a stressful job, and then you have people who overextend themselves and overcommit themselves in the other areas of their life. And so therefore, they just don't have enough time to get everything done. And so here are some tips to lower your cortisol levels, which will help keep your immunity high. Okay, so get your pen out again. I have 6 things for you, 6 tips. So tend to your spirituality. Okay, very, very important. Number 1 is more than, you got to do more than just believe. Okay, you got to act and you have to actually have that faith. And so you got to walk in it. So developing and growing your faith through prayer, devotion, study is associated with reduced anxiety and depression. Okay, we got to have a higher power to help lead us and to guide us and to take some things off our plate that we feel like we can't take off our plate. We must truly lift our burdens to him, and we cannot have both faith and fear. Okay. And it's difficult to do that, but we must find a way to do that. And that's different for each person. Get the right amount of sleep. Timing and length and quality of sleep all influence our cortisol levels. Okay. 7 hours. Okay. Sleep experts say 7 to 9. I try to get my clients to 7. And and just keeping it real, if you feel like 7 hours is too many hours in a day, or too many hours to get sleep, how in the world are you going to make it happen? That means you are way too busy, way too stressed. And that's where we got to kind of break down some of those barriers. Exercise, okay? But don't overdo it now. There is such thing as too much exercise, especially if you're not a competitive athlete and all the stars and moons are not lined up, okay? Because you got to eat a certain way if you're a competitive athlete. You can't work out excessively and eat little, okay? So have a balance and variety, cross-training with your exercise with rest days, okay? You don't want to do all HIIT. You don't want to lift heavy all the time and do nothing else. So you want to refrain from doing those things on a regular basis. You got to know how to cross-train. Learn how to recognize, number 4, learn how to recognize stressful thinking, okay? So stressful thoughts are important to signal, as an important signal for cortisol release, okay? I call it that stinking thinking, okay? Or that all or nothing type thinking, where you're always down on yourself. We always see everything we didn't do. We always see everything that went wrong. We never see anything good or any success, because we want the success to look like this, but this is not enough, so we have to have a positive mindset. All right. Have fun and maintain healthy relationships. Okay. So think about if you have some toxic relationships that are keeping you stressed out. How do you heal them? Or is that a chapter that needs to close? That's where prayer can help you. Eat healthy. That requires you to visit all 5 food groups and healthy fats in order to make that happen. And that looks different for everybody. That's where a dietitian can help you. Nutrition can influence your cortisol levels for the better or for the worse. Okay. A lot of stuff. Again, we're planting seeds, but it's a process. Okay. And so name 3 things that you would like to set as a goal for yourself. Which 3 would you like to set for a goal? Spirituality, increasing that, sleep, exercise, healthy relationships, eating from the 5 food groups. Okay. So what 3 would you like to set as a goal? Or maybe you're doing at least 3 or more. Maybe we have to dig a little deeper and grow your spirituality more. What do we need to do to go from 6.5 hours to 6 hours and 45, 6 hours and 45 minutes? Because a lot of times people will say, oh, I get 6.5, I'm good. No, that 30 minutes times 7 days makes a difference. It adds up. I'm exercising regularly. Well, is it cross training? Are you doing cardio? Are you doing endurance cardio, HIIT? Are you doing weightlifting? Are you doing cardio with weights? Are you stretching? Are you resting? What are you doing? Healthy relationships and just eating balanced. Okay. And a lot of times, this is definitely where you need a dietitian, because many times people restrict way too much. Okay. All righty. So before diving into the 10 tips for reducing stress, I want to give more details on the 5-day meal plan. So let's chat a few minutes about your food, your nutrition, as well as how that helps with stress management and boosting your immune system. So do you feel like that you tried every diet that has ever been created? Is that a stressor for you? Okay. When I talk to my new clients, they're very stressed by how much money and time they have put into diets that did not work. After you've tried many diets, do you feel frustrated and disappointed because you cannot keep the weight off? That's a stressor, okay, for many, many people. If you're incredibly tiresome and always feeling like you have to start over, you're always hitting the reset button and you're not seeing any real change, that's a stressor if you've been going through that for an extended period of time. If you're struggling with weight loss, you're confused about what to eat, you're overwhelmed about what to eat, you're reading conflicting things, this diet says one thing, this diet says another, that is a stressor, okay? All of those are stresses. So I have help for you, okay? And so this is another reason why I created this 5-day meal plan, easy to follow, and you will experience a surge of energy that will last throughout the day. You will have a roadmap, Okay. It's not the only way to eat, but it's a roadmap to at least give you 5 days. And it's amazing what the body can do and how it responds in 5 days. Okay. Benefits: you're eating meals that will satisfy you. It will help you gain control over those cravings. You will wake up feeling refreshed and energized, provided you are getting decent sleep as well. And it also boosts your body's natural detoxification systems with powerhouse foods. So you realize that you don't need to restrict and cut back and do all this stuff to help your body detox. You detox with food, okay? Whole foods. So plan to grab this, take a look at it. It's definitely free. You can follow it in its entirety. It's 5 days of 3 meals, 2 snacks, as well as you can follow individual, like you can pick a recipe that you like here and there. But the beauty of following that all in its entirety is you get a grocery list as well as a prep guide where everything is set up for you. This is what you need to do on these days. You're not doing all 5 days on a Sunday. And you will learn the beauty, you will experience the beauty of being able to grab and go during your week. And it is such a relief to go through your week knowing what it is you're eating. It's already prepared. All you got to do is warm it up and things of that nature. So this will give you an ideal of planning and prepping. A lot of times people struggle with planning and prepping because they don't really know how to do it and they don't know how to make it easy for themselves. They feel overwhelmed by it. They feel like it's another thing to do. And it's really not another thing to do because it really will save you so much during your week. All right. So check it out and give me some comments. Okay. All right. So let's take this thing on home where we're talking about 10 tips for reducing stress. All right. So it really comes down to managing your stress. We learn more about stress and we lead healthier lives when we learn how to do this bit by bit. And so here we go. Remember, we are planting seeds. So grab your pen again. And we're going to start reversing some of those habitual habits that we have. So number 1, keep a positive attitude. Okay, it's essential. Okay. Number 2, accept that there are events that you cannot control. Okay, we can't fix everything and we can't change the past. A lot of times we hit the rewind button and we're constantly stuck. So accept that there's some things we have zero control over. Be assertive instead of aggressive. Okay, so assert your feelings, your opinions, your beliefs instead of becoming so angry and defensive or passive about it. Okay. Number 4, learn and practice physical relaxation techniques, whether that's yoga, prayer, meditation, reading. What is that for you? What are some relaxation techniques for you, especially an hour or 2 before you go into bed? So those are that's a sleep tip there. Learn to manage your time more effectively. Okay. This is very, very tough. Okay. This is where many of us need a little help. Many of us don't realize that we have time management challenges. Everything is not a priority. We got to learn how to really set priorities. Okay. And boundaries. Set limits appropriately. So say no. Sometimes we got to say no to stuff. Okay. And when we say yes to things, sometimes you can feel the anxiety because you're like, oh man, I shouldn't have said yes to that. So you got to learn how to set some limits and say no. There's a respectable way to say no to things. Make time for hobbies and interests. This is so important. Sometimes the things that we love doing and we enjoy doing, it falls through the cracks of life or we're just too tired. And so it's very important to have an outlet. Okay. Many consider this a chore because they're too busy. But find something that you wish you can do, but you feel like you don't have time doing. That's what you need to make time for. Okay. For me, I take piano lessons. And so if I don't remind myself that I've been wanting to take piano lessons for years, but I just can't find the time to do it. And so I finally have an opportunity and I've done it. It's been a few years now and I have to stay intentional. And I'm really glad that I have that accountability because if I didn't, I would just fill that time up with something. So sometimes my practice is not as where I need it to be and where I want it to be, but I'm always thinking about it. And I'm like, I have too much going on to where I can't even I feel like I can't even fit 15 minutes, to do a practice. So think about what it is that you enjoy doing. Okay. Don't rely on alcohol, drugs, compulsive behaviors. For an example, excess eating. Okay. To reduce stress. Some people even over-exercise because they're trying to they feel like they're undoing what they ate. Okay. It doesn't work that way. but we want to make sure that we're not doing those type of compulsive behaviors. Okay. Seek out social support. Okay. Spend time with those that you love. Get out of the house, and those things are very, very important. And then also seek some professional help. Okay. Whether that's a psychiatrist, whether that's a mental health counselor, dietitian, your doctors, seek trained help. Okay. Cannot YouTube everything. Sometimes we need personalized help. And if it was that easy, we wouldn't go to school for it. Okay. We wouldn't get licensed. We wouldn't take board exams. So trust me, there are things that you don't know, and we don't always know what we don't know. Okay. Save you a lot of time, save you a lot of aggravation. All righty. So what actions do you feel hinders you the most? Or if you know where you are in this process of the stress and needing of stress management, where do you feel your next step is? Do you need to keep a positive attitude? Accepting what you can't control, making time for yourself, hobbies, interests, not relying on compulsive behaviors, seeking social support, seeking professional help. Where do you feel, or there's a combination. A lot of times we need all these things, or we need a combination of these things. Okay. So identify what actions are triggered in stressful situations. Okay. That is a very important first step in managing your stress and being more productive. And also it's a step forward in setting yourself free. Okay. Sometimes we live this so long that it becomes normal, and we feel like it's normal, and we feel like it's never going to change, and nothing's never going to become different. There's no way out. Please know that none of that's true. Okay. Those are really good signs that you need to just invest in that help. Okay. Whether, like I said, whether it's a team, whether it's a psychologist, a mental health counselor, the dietitian, a personal trainer, get the help that you need. Okay. Takeaway message here. So to wrap things up, stress occurs when life events surpasses your abilities to cope. That's what stress is, when life events surpass the abilities for you to cope. Okay. And so this causes your body to produce greater levels of the stress hormone cortisol. Okay. In short spurts, yes, it can boost your immunity by limiting inflammation, but over time, your body can get used to having too much cortisol in your blood, and this opens up the door for more inflammation. Okay. And we've discussed how stress affects our weight. Cortisol also weakens our immune system, and it makes us more susceptible to illness. So take some personal time, set a new normal for yourself, and boundaries to help you to reduce stress. Acknowledge the stress, identify the stress. Now let's do something about the stress. Okay. It does take years off your life. So a lot of times we take years off our life that we don't need to take off. Okay. Use these tips that I provided as a way to begin the process of setting this new norm. Okay. But remember, we got to take it to another level. And in many cases, we need professional help. And so choose realistic tips that will help you to continue this long term. So there are no shortcuts to managing stress. There's no shortcuts to weight loss. There's no shortcuts to just doing it right. It really isn't. And so I recommend listening to the replay, take down these tips again, and then determine what one or two you're going to tackle first. I'm trying to tackle them all at one time. Okay. And then one tip that you may implement immediately is eating healthy to help manage the stress. So at least that's one thing you can say you got today for that day. Oh, at least I ate healthy today. All the stresses, I at least ate healthy today. I gave my body all this good stuff, and it's getting stronger. Okay. And that's what the 5-day meal plan is all about. So definitely download it. Successful weight loss is not a one size fit all. If you're struggling to lose weight and keep it off, you're not alone at all. And so your weight loss strategy needs to be just as unique as you are. So highly personalized, multifaceted, approached, and designed to help you feel amazing in your clothes and full of energy, and all that's very personalized. But this right here is a good first step to at least give you a taste of what's possible. And then we tailor things specifically really to the foods that you eat day to day to make it very, very easy. All right. So this concludes what I have for this week's dose of your nutrition news for your mind, your body, and your soul. We spoke about a lot of things, but stress is a very important topic. And so we want to create that lifestyle of self-care, and we want to remove those strongholds because all those things are stressors. Okay. And so we want you ultimately to step into your highest level of health so that you feel better and that you have more energy. Next week, I am going to air my up close and personal segment where you have an opportunity to hear from real people and they share their story, they share their journey, they share their challenges, and they share their testimony, which is really most important in how they overcame. And next week, we'll talk with Tracy Jackson, and she is going to share how she finally lost 40 pounds without gaining it back, despite years of extreme dieting that led to hormonal imbalances, nutritional deficiencies, high sugar, cholesterol levels, and she was put on meds for anxiety. So, very powerful story that I know many of us can relate to, and she can at least share your journey. And prayerfully, it will steer you in a different direction. All right. And so we will still continue on this stress and stress eating as well. All right. And so after we have the my up close and personal, I will pick things back up with the 5 keys to stress, to manage your stress eating and to avoid unwanted weight gain. So we're going to give some specific ways to manage that stress. All right. So bye for now. Thank you for listening, and share this with others as well that you feel would benefit. Have a great one and be blessed.